Okay, and we're live with absolutely no viewers right now, but I'm sure some will come in, and if they don't, I don't blame them because this wasn't
You
that
missed.
fun
You
of an
missed.
episode. I mean, it
Plus,
wasn't
you
a
missed
bad
the week.
episode. I like the murder mystery type aspect. I like that they're trying new things, but
Yeah,
anyway, for anybody that watches this later, I'm Justin, and he is Matt,
Matty Dubs.
and we're the podcast.
That is not a valid URL too for my name. Do not try googling that.
Hey, Dragos.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, this episode is it was interesting. I did not realize until
reminder too.
Matt
We got to
told
review
me.
last week's too since we missed that for
Yeah,
Memorial Day weekend.
we'll touch
I
on
got
that.
some honorable mentions on that one.
Well, last week's episode was probably one of the better episodes
I really liked it.
from this. Elijah Wilson, what's up?
Sup?
No, but I guess before we get into this week's, we'll kind of touch on last week's, being it was Labor Day, and even
We had so much
podcasting,
going on. It was
get a day off. What's up, Nerd Dragon? Well, not Nerd Dungeon. Nerd Dragon would be cool too. Michael Myers, what's up? But no, so last week's episode was really cool. What did he call him?
Homo
mortis. Yeah, like
pretty much just a fancy Latin word saying it's just the dead that stand upright.
Thanks, Elijah. I was lazy today and didn't feel like putting my contacts in.
It's a lot of work to look that good.
It is. I mean, it's a lot of work to look this mediocre. But last week's episode was pretty good. It was probably my favorite of all of them. I liked the Terry Crews one. I thought the second one. Well, let me think. What happened in the second one?
The second one was like the one where they kept dying over and over.
That was the one.
Like, what if this episode ended like they all died and then wake up and then like, wait, what the fuck?
The second one was the only episode. We were the only people that liked it.
I like that they're doing different stuff. They're clearly having fun with it.
Last week was really, really good. You had some points on that. So what were your points on that before we move on to tonight's episode, which was Davon, I think, by the way.
What were the characters' names? I forget their names. Is the old guy and the old doctor dude, and then the young Asian gal. What were their names again?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Like Amy and Doctor something, Dr. Doolittle, maybe.
Yeah, that was it. It was Dr. Doolittle.
But I liked like how Amy was like more free spirit, like she was like she wanted to be involved with her community, she would like me just happy to be there. Where the doc was like, the world is pretty much theirs. Like we're no longer humans amongst, or we're no longer like zombies amongst humans. We're now humans among zombies. And she's like, no, we can rebuild. We can do this and that. Like at the end, she was saying something like, or not at the end, but like kind of sort of the point, like, memories and human connections are all we really truly have. I think that kind of that stuck with the doc at the end. Even though he got like a whole bunch, a whole bunch of fresh subjects to test on and observe. That was sweet. I'm gonna tag you now.
I guess last week's episode, he tagged her, right? Like it ended like he was getting ready to put a tag on her. So, at least they still got to be together somewhat.
I think, he really wanted, like, she was showing him, like, hey, like, yeah, these human connections are actually very nice to have. So, like, hey, like, I want you to come work with me. We can do this stuff together. That way, I'm still doing what I want. You're doing what you want. It's a healthy compromise in my books.
That's fair. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. So I had someone over for Labor Day, and we were having some beers, and I had it on, but I got to admit, I wasn't really paying that much attention to it. And then the next day I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, this really wasn't that bad of an episode. I actually enjoyed that.
But I know it reminds a lot of points. I think everyone should understand that memories and connections are all you really have. So keep that in mind.
Very, very. So you like that theme there?
Yes, I like. Yeah, it's always something good to keep in mind.
Yeah, this.
If you have a chance to do something with somebody, just do it. Like, memories are worth it. Rolling bonds is worth it.
Oh, that's so sweet. I agree 100%. I'm a lot more sentimental than I portray myself.
He was a cold, callous bastard until I came along.
That's true.
And now he's just an older, cold, callous bastard. When I was young, I was poor. Now that I'm old, I am still poor.
I used to be young and poor. Now I'm old and poor. Oh man. Let's see. These one-offs got me all types of confused about The Walking Dead. What's funny?
They
Well, what's funny is
they are very
I meant to send you a message during the episode that said IR confusions. And it's like because I didn't understand. I actually sent it to somebody else who probably
It's like
is
I are
very
confused now too.
yeah, they are confusing. And I was actually just trying to pull up an article to kind of like summarize it because I just don't like
I
get
wasn't
this episode.
satisfied with this last one.
I didn't realize until Matt pointed it out before we went live that that was A Train from The
From
Boys.
the boys. I'm like, just run away really fast and like your problems are solved.
Well, you know, Homelander's not going to come save him.
No.
I just realized what you were talking about in the beginning, that your name is matt.dubs.com.
Yeah, not a valid address. Do not Google that.
It's a porn site.
Yes.
Except for there are no girls. There's just Matt.
Just
alone
me just
on that very couch doing different
just
things.
sobbing and just sobbing and touching myself to try to feel anything.
He does some nasty things to his socks. But anyways, so Matt, try to explain this episode to me as best you can.
The way that I saw it was so A Train was it what was the name of this? Was it the Davon?
Davon?
Davon was the kid. Was
The
his name Davon?
I don't know. The episode was named Davon.
So Ashley said it took place in Maine, but they made mention of something about like French Canadians, something like that. Being Maine, they're not too far from like Quebec, so that's I guess explains the whole en français. But I guess he was. I don't remember why was he chained to that woman, and why did they have
when he discovered what she was doing?
She was tried to apprehend him.
Well, no, he handcuffed her to him so she couldn't get away.
So he tried to apprehend her.
Yeah, he was gonna like turn her in, and then he handcuffed himself to her so she couldn't run, and then her face fell into the acid.
Why do you have just gnarly acid sitting out?
Which was pretty gnarly. She was like Breaking Badding those kids. So
yeah.
So who was killing the kid? Again, I'm just so confused. Was her and that other guy were killing the kid?
Must have been I guess the murder or kill of mercy or coup de grace, as the French say. Doing mercy kills so they have to endure suffering.
Somebody out there listening, please explain to me what. Just tell me in the comments section, who was killing kids and why were they killing kids? I don't understand that.
They kept saying murder of mercy, so I think they were just doing mercy kills, so these people didn't have to grow up in such a shit world. I mean, if I had for whatever reason, the town, not only were they in the apocalypse, but also they went back a couple centuries and dressed like they were from the 17th century. Well, they had a giant backhoe.
There's dress codes when you're in groups in The Walking Dead. The trash people all dressed alike, Pope's people all dressed alike, and these people, they were like, we are a Francais.
Let's bring back a French version of the Pilgrims. I bet that'd be pretty cool.
And that's that. I guess that was their theme for their group was, hey, we are the French Pilgrims. It's I
think they may have done a Thanos logic though, trying to do kills of mercy so these kids didn't have to endure a crappy world. And I guess they decided that they were the ultimate authority to make that call.
Listeners, is that what was happening? Were they killing these kids out of mercy?
Then when A Train caught him, it's okay, we got to snuff this fella out before they find out what we're doing, because we know what we're doing is wrong, but we feel that it's right. It's so wrong, but yet it feels so right.
It's a good point. It's we feel like we're doing the right thing, but we also know it's wrong. And
it's when I pee in Justin's drain. I'm like, this. I know he won't like this, but it just feels so right.
You pee in my drain?
No.
I have questions. That explains.
Sometimes I'll pop the washer lid open and just use that as a urinal.
That explains that funky smell on my clothes today. Michael Myers said yes. So yeah, I guess they were mercy killing.
That's the vibe I got. I could be very wrong, but that's the vibe I got.
They seemed to enjoy it a bit too. I mean, they weren't maniacal per se, but I don't know. I mean, the thing is, though, like I think you would really have that in an apocalypse, though. Some people that would just like be killing people and telling themselves it was mercy when
Oh,
really,
I've given Justin 1,000% consent, even written and notarizing. Like, if the apocalypse occur, like, you may kill me out of mercy.
and
You are doing me a favor.
plot twist is I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna. It's
Yeah.
like they said in Mulan. I'm gonna have a little montage, and I'm gonna make a man out of you. And then Matt's gonna be the fiercest fighter in all of the apocalypse.
What if I roast like a badass like just like some sort of like king of the wasteland?
Well, we joke because it's like, you know, the apocalypse is going to happen. And what's really going to happen is I'll be like one of the first ones to die. I won't even get a chance, right? Like Matt will be at home and start hearing the sirens and the news alerts, and I'll have time to pay. I'll be like in Walmart, like getting groceries.
Or your golf cart, like you're out just pedaling around in the yard and your golf cart falls on top of you for whatever reason.
Well, no, I'm talking about getting bit. Like I'll be in Walmart, like grocery shopping with no notice, and all of a sudden it's like, and I'm like, oh no, it was supposed to happen like this. I was supposed to last longer. Bruh, imagine if he Otises you. Yeah, what if I just lose my shit and I'm like, you want to die so bad? You're like, yeah, kill me. Okay, I'll kill you. Then I just drag you out in the street and shoot your leg and let them eat you. That'd be horrible. Do you want to be a man yet? Well, now I can't be. You took away my leg.
My leg is. No, Justin, no.
So I guess the actor that plays A-Train is kind of trying to, you know, do different things. I do like the one-offs. You know, I like that they're doing that. I enjoy it being like a standalone thing.
Next week's the last one for this little short spin, isn't it?
It is. Well, and the reason I like them being one-offs is good and bad, because I like them being one-offs because they can do different things, but then I also like them because if I don't like the episode, or if I'm not, you know, I don't have to continue the story. Like I would not want to.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah,
this was not one that I would really care for it to be multiples of. Like I'm cool with that one. I just really hope they, you know, they did it with Alpha. I really hope that if they do a season 2 with this, they will start going back and doing origin stories for characters. I mean, I know they have to like de-age them and stuff, but like I want to see Abraham and like how they met Rosita. I'd love to see like the governor's backstory. Like that's what I want to see more of, because that's kind of how they, when they announced it like a year or two back that they were doing this, that's kind of how
they do like a Walking Dead Origins. And we got like what, 7 other spinoffs in the works.
Well, that's kind of what they claimed this was going to be. Like they had kind of like led us to believe that we were going to get origin stories, you know, like, hey, because we have a whole podcast about when they announced this show. JP and I did one about like, you know, I think the picture is a picture of the governor, and it's like, is the governor coming back? Because it's like at the time that was a big possibility, and it was what a lot of people were thinking. But so
I didn't vote for him.
He's not my hashtag, not my governor. Let's see. Late skip through this live. I thought they killed kids because they didn't want them to grow into the sick world they've experienced.
That's, kind of what we were speculating.
That's what Matt had to. Yeah, because the first few minutes of the episode, my TV was like locking up, like it kept freezing, and I'd have to turn off my Xfinity receiver and turn it back on, and so I missed a few minutes in the beginning there. But I want to know what everybody thought about the episode. Like, did you like it?
What are French Canadians doing in Maine, and why are they dressed like 19th century, and why are they thinking like we need to kill our kids so they don't have to suffer?
Also, tell me this, like, tell me if you liked it or not, and then tell me what your favorite episode of Tales has been thus far. Did you like the Terry Crews one? Did you like the time loop one? Did you like the Alpha kind of origin story? Did you like
why were they all wearing wetsuits in episode 2?
I gotta say, I think last week's was probably my favorite so far.
I really like that one.
Let's see. Michael Myers says, where do you think these episodes take place in The Walking Dead? Like canonically, like where in the timeline? Because I've wondered that myself. I mean, we know obviously Alpha's was way on back.
Kind of established, yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about that myself. Did anyone notice the PPP card in Davon's hands? Same card Tara found could be significant. Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the Terra. I know what you're talking about. I hadn't put two and two together with the whole Terra thing. That's pretty interesting. Maybe they're going to tie stuff together. Would Matt, if you had to pick one character that we've seen thus far, excluding obviously Alpha because she was in it, to bring to the main show, who would you pick?
I think. Well, I'm definitely leaning towards Terry.
Terry Crews.
Or that, yeah, or the dog from the last episode. I think he'd be a fun character to have tossed in.
The doc would be interesting because if he met Eugene, I feel like Eugene would enjoy doing all of this.
Yeah.
As the shows went on, we've had several people that were trying to do like research or whatnot. You had Milton was like trying to do his, like, Milton wasn't even like a real doctor, but he was trying to do like the test to see if there was any trace of them. And then he was also like keeping a record of the history of their community. And then, you know, you've had several. And so I think that him and Eugene, I think Eugene would be a good match for the doc.
That's it. New spinoff, Doc and Eugene, coming this fall.
Do you think the CRM will show up in the final 8 episodes? Matt, you haven't watched the Fear the Walking Dead or the World Beyond, so you're not familiar with the CRM. But that's basically the people that took Rick when he, you know, blew up the bridge. That's who took Rick as the CRM.
That's all we know of them from the main from the TV show.
Yeah, like I don't think they've really had much impact. I mean, well, I don't want to say much. I don't think they've had much presence or been discussed much in the main show, but they are, you know, pretty big. Well, they, you know, they've got appearances in Fear the Walking Dead, and they've been really big in the World Beyond. Which the World Beyond, man, let me tell you, it has its moments where it's okay, but that is a chore to slog through. Like that. I mean, granted,
Yeah,
it's
only
like
the Disney, like the like the Disney XD or like the kids Disney version.
Come on, guys, we're gonna this ragtag group of people are gonna team up, and we're gonna save ourselves from the apocalypse and the world. You know, even though something that armed militaries couldn't do, but we're gonna do it because we have a can-do
kids.
They're a plucky group of teenagers. But yeah, that show has like there's a fight scene on the last episode, I think, that's really awesome. But I mean, that show was just, excuse my French here, it was a steaming pile of dog shit. But it does tie into, so I don't know. Now we're getting that Rick Michonne spinoff, but I don't know if the CRM is going to show up or not. I've wondered if they were going to try to tie any of these to the main episode, you know, main show, which they did with Alpha being there. But I've wondered the same thing. Michael Myers said that he likes the Alpha episode. That's awesome. I thought it was a good one too. She's
just brutal.
She is. I love my dad. I love her accent. She sounds like she would be a good hostess.
Sometimes at a plantation. I still wear my, yeah. How you doing, sugar? I cannot wait to wear your face.
Would you like some lemonade?
Can I freshen that sweet tea?
Yeah, she's no, I like the Alpha episode. I think last week's and the Alpha were probably my favorites, but I did like Terry Crews. I actually like the time loop. And next week, the previews for next week's episode, it looks like it's gonna, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna have paranormal, but like she's hearing voices and hallucinating and stuff. So it's got like a ghostly feel to it. I like that they're trying new stuff.
You and me both. It's different.
Since it's going to be a ghostly episode. But no, I don't know what. So, all right, being that they teased origin stories for certain characters when they announced this was coming out, which we've only really gotten a little bit, and it wasn't even like an Alpha origin per se. It was just like an Alpha flashback. But if you could pick the origin for one character that they would, for them to do, who would it be? Like, what's one character super interested in?
Like, what if like their lives before Walking Dead, like before they like do other character developments and arcs, like what if they were just very mundane lives? Like what if we did like a Rick origin? It's just like he's just at the sheriff's department, like sipping coffee and looking through, like doing paperwork.
Like there's no excitement, nothing. It's just a day in the life of Rick.
Yeah, just at the office.
Morning, Officer Grimes. Here's your coffee. Grimes, get that paperwork, get those reports done by the end of the day. Oh man,
I'm curious. I'd like to see Glenn's background.
I think that would be cool, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think Steven Yen is just completely done with the show. Almost like a scorned lover. I don't get it. Let's see. The last documentary scientist is the only guy I'd involve. He might know about the Human Genome Project. Yeah, like I said, that was probably my favorite episode they've done of these Tales little mini shows. But Masked Ninja, remember on Talking Dead, Gimple did say we will see how the CRM and C in the Commonwealth know of each other in season 11. That's very true. Jonas says Negan, Barcode, and Simon take over the Saviors would be cool. Yeah, it would be. It would be cool to see Negan's rise. Like we saw Negan's backstory with his wife, but it'd be cool to see like when he became a Savior.
When he starts being the kingpin.
We kind of saw Alpha become the Alpha. But I really want a governor backstory. I think that's, and it might suck. Like you said, it might be real mundane. It's just like he's sipping coffee at work. Like he works at the local DMV or something. And then it's just like the world ends and they're like, we need a leader. And he's like, I'll be your governor.
I'll do it.
I'll be your governor. And then they're like, okay. And the episode ends. Sure, and it's like, oh, well, that was a little bit of a letdown. That would be funny, though, like a Rick origin, a day in the life of Officer. And it's like the most boring episode ever. He goes home and him and Lori have a fight. Then it ends. He's like, I wish something would happen.
Stuck in 2 hours of traffic out in Atlanta. Come on, man. We got places to be.
I always wonder the dumbest things, too. Like, I wonder, like, what kind of music Rick listened to. I wonder. And I know we got that one episode with him and Daryl, like, when they met Jesus, where he put in like some, what was it? It was like a bluesy kind of, I don't know, but like I wonder what kind of music Rick listens to. I wonder what kind of music like Daryl would listen to. What kind of music Maggie listens to. What kind of music Glenn listens to. What do you think? Who do you think Rick's favorite musical artist would be?
Backstreet Boys.
You're tearing up my heart when I'm with you, Lori. But when we are apart, you bang Shane too.
That's pretty good.
All right, who do you think Daryl listens to?
Daryl.
I like Daryl with like Motorhead.
Yeah, like the more grunge stuff.
All right, last one. What do you think Negan listens to?
I would think kind of like your classic rock.
Yeah,
something very typical. Something just typical for.
I feel like Negan would be like, hey, we all have that one person we meet and like we judge them out the gate and like then they play like when you hear their playlist, it's never what you would expect. Like, I wonder if Negan listens to like 80s and 90s like rap,
like soft alternative rock. Yeah,
I could see him like he turns it on and it's just like Busta Rhymes, and you're like, huh, I did not see this.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Getting back to the questions of what origin stories we'd like to see in Tales of the Walking Dead, I want to see Sasha and Tyrese and their bunker backstory in Jacksonville. Yeah, that would be cool because remember they said their neighbor had a bunker. But then they ran out of food and all of that, so they had to come out the bunker. Let's see. Rick liked Half Moon, a.k.a. Beta. Also an episode of how Merle met the governor. Ooh, that would be awesome.
Like How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Governor.
Yeah.
And that, kids, is How I Met Your Governor. That would be really cool if they would do like a flashback filling in the gap from when Merle saws his hand off until the governor finds him. So we know the governor found him probably not too long after that happened, and he was all messed up.
Stumpy, you want to join my crew? I do not like folks of different races.
Well, you look like you could use a hand. But yeah, I would love that would probably be in my tops. Like if I got
before the governor's backstory, like he was a very lousy comedian trying to make it in this cruel world.
isn't that the origin story for the Joker? Well, one of the origin stories. What is it? The Killing Joke or whatever? What is that? What was that? I think it's a Killing Joke.
Where he's like a failing comedian.
Yeah, he's like a failing comedian, just trying to, maybe he's not very funny. Let's see. Also, oh no, he did that one. Wait a minute. Let's see. Survival of the Fittest. Is what Daryl listens to. I honestly don't think I know that song, so I'd have to check that out. I wouldn't mind a Bob Stogie episode, Lost Style, backstory with his time in the military as a paramedic in the beginning of the fall before Daryl found him. Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd like to see Bob. There was an interesting change too, because in the comics, Bob was like this old alcoholic white dude, and which he was alcohol, but he was like a younger, not white dude that was also an alcoholic. They kept that aspect. They're like, however we do this character, he will be an alcoholic. I always thought that scene with him and Daryl on the roof was a little odd. When Daryl finds the bottle and realizes he risked all their lives, whatever for the bottle, and then he pulls the gun and Daryl gets like face to face with him. That's one of those "kiss me, you fool" moments.
Kiss me, you fool.
But no. So those are some good origins. I would still like to see. I would even like I don't know. This is a stretch, but I would love an episode kind of showing Shane and Lori at the beginning of the apocalypse and like them growing closer. Like maybe start.
Hey, so I know your husband's pretty much gone. So you want to bang one out? Sure. Now kiss me, you fool.
Stinky Zombie 6. But no, I would think that would be cool. Like start the episode where Shane tries to save Rick in the hospital and he they're shooting it up and everything. And then he puts the bed in front of the door and then he leaves. That would be dope to like start the episode right there.
Yeah, just roll from there.
Like where he goes and how he gets with Lori and all of that. That would be pretty awesome. An episode on the Claimers of the Wolves. I wouldn't mind seeing one on the Claimers. The Wolves were just kind of like, I don't know, man.
They were just
never saw the point in the Wolves. Like, I honestly don't even feel like they, the Claimers left an impact on Daryl and Rick. I mean, we got that, but like, I just don't feel like the Wolves were that impactful to the show. They just had funky teeth. And they were just people for Morgan to beat up and try to save. I got a wolf chained in the basement, Rick, but I'm going to change him. You can't change animals, Morgan. Not a wolf, you dumbass.
You're not my real dad.
Let's see. What about an Ezekiel episode? Rescuing Shiva, finding Jerry, and starting the kingdom. Yes, I'm down for it.
Yes, that'd be cool.
It's honestly the kind of stuff I thought we were going to get. I mean, I knew that they said it was going to be some new characters and old characters, so I knew we would have some episodes with completely new characters, but I just expected more like flashbacks or backstories with, like this episode. I feel bad. We've been podcasting for 28 minutes and we haven't really talked much about it, but it's just like, it was that much to talk about.
Well, I mean, like, I think we hit the big points of the episode prior, and then just kind of like whatever the heck this one was.
Things I did like about it. I like the murder mystery kind of aspect of it. I like that we were guessing the classic amnesia. Oh, I can't remember what happened. Am I a killer or am I not? Resident Evil tried to do it with Resident Evil Survivor. It was this video game where you didn't know if you lost your memory after falling out of a helicopter, which somehow did not kill you. And then you like the whole time you think you're a villain, and then you. So, anyways, I like that. The episode itself was just I don't know. It just wasn't really feeling this one. An episode on how the CDC collapsed with Dr. Jenner. Yeah, that'd be dope. Being they did flashback to him on Fear the Walking Dead. Speaking of flashback, don't forget new retro Walking Dead drops tomorrow. We talk about.
You guys season 3 yet?
No, we are we just did Better Angels, which is the episode, spoilers, which if you haven't seen season 2 of The Walking Dead, and my God, why are you here? But where Rick kills Shane. So that's coming out tomorrow, and
Be
then
a
we'll have
fun
another
one.
one.
I bet that was fun recording that one.
Oh yeah, it blew Jesse's mind. Like she watched the episode. We recorded it today. She watched the episode like it's right before she came here, so she was still kind of riding that Walking Dead high when she got here. But it was a good cast. It'll be available tomorrow, and then we'll do the next episode on Friday. Would you have stopped the crane operator from smashing Davon if he gave you hope of finding your kid? Hell yeah. And then if I didn't find my kid, I would have crushed him. That's a weird way to execute someone too. Like, I mean, couldn't you just like tie him up and then smash him with? I don't know.
Yeah. They talk about kills of mercy. Like, yeah, that doesn't seem very merciful to dress like you're from the 17th century, then use an excavator to smush them.
And nothing says the Pilgrim days like modern equipment.
Like a big old diesel-powered excavator.
What if they like tied him to the shore and we're gonna ram like the Mayflower up on? It's like this is going
the world.
But yeah, no, that whole execute. I mean, it was brownie points for trying to be creative. I mean, that's a cool way, I guess, to execute people.
Maybe too. Maybe it's like nice for the writers too, like to just have some fun with it. Like it's gotta be exhausting trying to come up with backstories and origins and this, that, and the others. Just like, hey, here's like we need some filler time. Have fun with it. Go nuts. AMC prints money for us, so have some fun with it.
That's true. Now, this one I wasn't aware of. Jonas says, side note, I think this was the episode that takes place 35 years into the apocalypse. 35 years? Enlighten me. I didn't know if that's something they were talking about, like before the show came out, that one of them was going to be set really far into the future.
Takes place in 4000 AD.
Speaking of Better Angels, did you think Shane was right that Rick couldn't keep Lori or Carl safe? Do you think if Shane was still alive, they would still?
I think he was disillusioned. He wanted power, and he's just disillusioned. And
well, I hate to give Shane credit here for that, but I mean, let's look at the facts. Lori and Carl are both dead. So I mean, he told Rick, "I don't think you can keep them alive." I mean,
can you keep anybody alive for that matter in a post-apocalyptic situation?
Well, and it was situations beyond his control too.
Yeah,
but, I mean, like there's nothing he could have done.
If he was working his 9-to-5 sheriff job, totally fine. They would have lived happily ever after until the end of time.
Actually, there is something he could have done when he let that Kevin Hart knock off. Like when we locked him outside, he assumed he got ate by zombies, but like he could have just like shot him because ultimately he came back and caused Lori's death. But to an extent, I remember back when that episode came out back in 2012. I remember my dad and I talking like, Lori. I mean, Shane had some valid points. I mean, this is at the point of the story where Rick was getting harder, like becoming more of a hardened survivor, but he was still kind of soft. And a lot of, I mean, they definitely acknowledged it when he had his little hallucination with Shane that Shane was largely responsible for Rick turning into the badass he needed to be to keep everybody alive. Let's see.
He was getting good pivot points.
Masked Ninja, how do you think Shane would react to Negan getting near Carl and Judith? I mean, it ain't much he could have.
Stop it, Negan. Stop.
If he was a hothead, then he would have just gotten himself killed. I mean, I think Rick learned that.
Being too.
Like if he thought Rick's look was enough to do all that, crazy shit where he took him off in the RV and all of that. I mean, imagine how Shane would be looking at him. Shane looks at everybody like when he had sex with Lori, he looked at her like he hated her. Let's get this.
I do not like this. Do this.
Let's see. Jonas Billy is quoting here. They take place over tentatively 35 years into the future. Don't quote me on that. Scott Gimple will kill me. That's interesting if it's 35 years into the future. So the more into the future of the apocalypse we go, the more primitive people start dressing. We are the Pilgrims. Like we didn't get industry back up and running at any point. Like we don't have any modern clothes. It's like
that's it. We're going back to the cotton gin.
Like, yeah, it's an interesting point there. But no, so Matt, what positives can you say about tonight's episode?
It was kind of an interesting murder mystery. I mean,
What negatives can you say about tonight's episode?
I don't get why they felt like they needed to kill the children for the for the remaining survivors. Like, okay, like there's no one to take us over when we're dead. So like, why don't we just kill ourselves and the kids? If we
Yep,
kill our kids, they won't suffer. Well, okay, now why don't you all just link arms and walk into the Atlantic Ocean together?
that's a good point.
It,
Michael
it
Myers
just didn't make sense to me.
Michael Myers says if Shane was still alive, who do you think would have been a great love interest for him? Perhaps Lori, perhaps Leah
Carol.
from No, I think Andrea would have been a good. Yeah, I thought they were going to go somewhere with that, but apparently they just had a little one-time thing, you know, in the Hyundai, but Hyundai.
One night stands are important in the apocalypse.
But no, let me see who would have been good for Shane, like that was currently in the show. I don't know.
Where's
Yeah.
Shane and Michonne hooked up?
Hmm. I wonder if CRM will still exist 35 years into the future, or would they be brought down? I don't know. I mean, they keep killing their own people, so I mean, if they do that, eventually they're going to be like, "There's no more of our people
Yeah,
left to kill.
very self cannibalizing.
Now we need to take ourselves out." It has been an honor, ma'am.
That was fun. I had fun. I was just happy to be
We
here.
had a good run. Rosita, yeah, Rosita could be an interesting love interest for Shane. I think she would have found the alpha male aspect of Shane to be attractive. Then again, she did end up with Father Gabriel
Who would
and
win in
and
a bare
Sadiq.
knuckle
So I
fight?
don't know. I don't know. I thought being that she was banging Abraham, she was into alpha males, but I don't know. She got with Sadiq and Gabriel, and they're both not.
Kind of.
Gabriel's becoming more of an alpha male for sure, but you know, was it an
Who
Easter
would
egg
win in
when
a
we
fist
saw?
fight, Shane or Abraham?
Let's see. Was it an Easter egg when we saw Davon with the red eye, similar to Morgan in Fear? Is Davon Dwayne with a different name? I don't know if it was 35 years into the future. I think he'd be a bit older than that because you got to think like in 35 years into what future? Like 35 years into the apocalypse, 35 years past the time we're in now with The Walking Dead. But if 35 years into the apocalypse, maybe he could pass for like early 40s, but I don't think they're going to bring Dwayne back. I think at this point, I think they're just done with that. I think Dwayne got eaten by his mama. I don't think I could see Shane and Sasha getting together, but maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't think Shane was. I don't think Shane could have stayed on a path to where he would have been a good guy. I don't think that there's any. I think the constant in the
No
multiverse of
redemption.
Shane is that he was always going to turn into a bad guy. Maybe in another universe he did kill Rick, and then became a very governor-ish. Because I mean, I could certainly see him going that governor route. He definitely had the psycho-ness in him. All right, a few more questions, and we're gonna wrap it up here. What do you think, Merle? Do you think Merle would have joined the Saviors if he was still alive? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think he would have liked that hierarchy.
Merle would have loved the Saviors. It's like being with the governor, only more people, more resources, and less of a chance that Negan's going to kill you if you run with him, as long as you don't, try to
Get out
rape
of line.
someone like that Davy did. I think that, Negan might treat you like shit, talk to you like shit, but I think he can let you be alive.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be a Merle day.
Let's see. I did think Amanda's death was awesome. The chemical death handcuff was a sad way to go. It was, man. It
That would
was.
suck.
That was rough. So so tell me, because again, I didn't quite. So were the chemicals there? Was she like dissolving the bodies or something?
I guess if like it sounds like they knew that what they were doing was would have been viewed as wrong by their peers. So I guess they were killing the kids. They were probably just trying to dissolve them and get rid of any evidence. That's what I would guess. But still, you just don't want a big vat of acid sitting out in the open.
Very interesting. Yeah, Michael Myers says, well, so what do you think would happen if the governor had an army like the Saviors with their weapons and resources? I think the governor would still find some way
He'd
to like
be he'd be
F it.
president by now.
Yeah, most likely. But I think the governor would still mess it up. See,
Yeah.
Negan had a bit of a temper, but Negan also knew how to stay cool, calm, and collected and think through most situations. Whereas the governor, when something doesn't go his way, he throws a bitch fit and kills
Power
everyone.
requires fierce control.
I just don't think and we we have a really, if you haven't heard it, we actually have a podcast from several years ago. Several, I mean, like, gosh, probably 5 years ago, we did, well, whenever Negan showed up, we did like the Negan versus the governor, who would win. Matt, who do you think would win between all right, so let's do two scenarios here. The governor and Negan fist to fist, a fight to the death. Who's going to win?
Governor.
Yeah, I think the governor could take him hand to hand. Now, Saviors versus Woodbury.
Saviors.
Right. So it's like, I think that's kind of where we went on the podcast, was like, well, one-on-one, like hand to
Teamwork
hand.
makes the dream work.
The governor's brutal. Like, I mean, we know that Negan took Simon, so I mean, we know Negan can throw down, but I think the governor would overpower him. So there is a wall that surrounds the community. Talking about the pilgrim community, the French pilgrims. We. Oh. No offense to any French listeners. Who thought this took place in France at first? I thought they were teasing Daryl's spinoff for a moment. Definitely let myself down. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the podcast because I asked Matt, I was like, so where did this take place at? Matt thought it was in Quebec, like French Canada, but his wife pointed out that it happened in Maine. It's like a French community in Maine, which would have been way cooler and easier to explain if he had just crossed the Canadian border and was up in Quebec, which is kind of, I thought he was in another country, but apparently, but yeah, that would have been cool.
They were LARPers, like back before the apocalypse. They lived in Maine, but they wanted to pretend they were 17th century Quebec French settlers.
Side note, did you know, Matt, about the Daryl spinoff show coming where he's going to Europe? Yeah, there's a Daryl spinoff.
How the hell does he get to Europe from Atlanta?
I don't know. I think I don't think they're in Atlanta anymore, but like, I think
starting off in Georgia, and then moving their way up more so north, but like East Coast USA, transatlantic to Europe.
I think I've read somewhere that it's reported that he's going to wake up in Europe. So I'm assuming he's going to get abducted, maybe by the CRM or somebody somehow. But what I don't understand is, okay, if Andrew Lincoln is agreeing to come back and Denai Guerrero is agreeing to come back, and you've got all these other characters, like, why don't we just, if nothing else, why don't we have like a Daryl Michonne? Why can't we just have that spinoff, like, to where it's like, a couple of main characters, and basically all you're doing is keeping The Walking Dead going. You're just trimming the fat on a lot of these characters that we just don't really care about. Like, don't do separate spinoffs, man. Just take Daryl, Michonne, Rick, and any of the other ones that you're going to do spinoff. Maggie and Negan they're going to have their own spinoff. Like, have a show where it's Maggie, Negan, Rick, Daryl, and Michonne, or like have one show where you're flashing through what they're going to and you're ultimately bringing them back together. I don't know why. I know why it is. It's because more shows equals more money, more ad revenue. But still, from a creative standpoint, that would be so much better. Like, just continue The Walking Dead, call it something else, whatever, but have those main people, Rick, Daryl, Michonne, Maggie, and Negan, and then just kind of like tell their stories all in the same episodes, the way like Game of Thrones would have done, where you've got multiple things going on at one time. Let's see. If the scientist in last week's episode mentioned the animals have been thriving, why haven't we seen an encounter with a bear or a mountain lion? I thought the same thing, Jonas, when like he was talking about like, the animals have thrived. I'm like, okay, well, why have alligators not been a threat until now on The Walking Dead? I mean, we have alligators, I know, but I feel like there would be more of them. Why has no one been taken out by a lion? Obviously, we had a tiger, but that's because Ezekiel. They're really good at hiding. Like, why has no one been attacked by a wild pack of hyenas yet? if they're thriving? Why has no one been eaten by an anaconda? It'd be great to see Ice Cube cameo and have an anaconda be chasing him.
Ah!
Or what if Ice Cube saved the anaconda from the zoo and, they have a very Shiva Ezekiel relationship? Just instead of a tiger
That's it.
helping protect him, it's a
Ice Cube
giant.
Anaconda Walking Dead spinoff.
I think that would be great. I love Ice Cube. I'd watch whatever he was in. Let's just imagine for a second a world where Ice Cube, the
Let me take you
zookeeper,
to it. Yeah.
sees a distressed anaconda and decides to save it, in which case the anaconda becomes loyal only to Ice Cube. But no, I think, I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I still, though, now that I hadn't thought about that before, but now that I've said it, now it's like all that I can think about. Like, why the hell are we getting all these spinoffs? If you've got so many of these main characters that are willing to continue the franchise, like, why do we need separate spinoff shows? Like, why can we
I want
not?
to speak to the Walking Dead's manager.
Right? Call AMC. I want to speak to your manager. Who? I mean, like, who do you got deciding this when you write the episodes? Because I would like to speak to them and ask them just like, what the are they thinking? I love that.
I'm just glad they've got to have some fun with the Tales.
Yeah, Tales has been fun.
Nice little refresher.
Even though I didn't particularly care much for this episode, I can say like I'm still glad it was there to watch. You can have a little fun and try new things without messing up the main show. So let's see here. I can't believe the sun couldn't hear Davon's spring leg approaching from the silent forest at the end, the Walking Dead universe. Well, here's something interesting to think about. Now, it might not be for them, but I was explaining this to Jesse on one of the Walking Dead retro reviews. Was it Film Theory? Some channel on YouTube had an interesting theory as to how people are constantly sneaking up on each other and how zombies are able to sneak up on the survivors. It's not, it might not necessarily be plot. It might be because, Matt, you're in the medical field. You know how much damage shooting without earmuffs, without earplugs does to the human ear. Like, gunshots are
it tears them up.
I mean, and all the shooting they've been doing in buildings, outside, Rick inside of a little tank, like stands to reason that most people in the show are probably half deaf.
Yeah. They could find 17th century pilgrim clothing, but they could not find earplugs.
That's something that we've talked about before in an old podcast, like how we would survive the apocalypse or something. But I was like, I know that it'll put me at a slight disadvantage because I might be snuck up on by zombies, but you best believe in the zombie apocalypse, I'm gonna have me some damn earplugs. Or at least like my ear covers that look like headphones, something. They do make, granted you'd have to keep batteries, but they do make, those shooting headphones to where you put batteries in them and you can hear perfectly fine. They just block out the concussion.
Yeah, they have like that dynamic range where like they can block out things over a certain threshold.
I mean, realistically, if you had enough batteries to keep it going, that would be ideal in the apocalypse. Last few little comments.
17th century pilgrim outfit too.
Don't forget your buckle.
Why does my hat need a buckle?
Don't forget your shoe buckles. Let's see. But 50-year-old Carol heard Henry's older brother from a mile away during the Savior arc. That's true. That's true. She's been around a ton of gunfire and explosions. That's true.
She's just a superhuman.
Yeah, maybe her ears just were maybe they don't clean their ears that much in the apocalypse. So maybe it's the reason they don't hear anything and they hear well at the same time is a buildup of wax has protected their ears from the concussion of the gun blast.
There's no Q-tips in the apocalypse.
It's a good point. I didn't think about that. So I have no idea. I'll just chalk it up to spotty writing. I mean, I love the show. I truly do. But when you love something, it's okay to point out its flaws.
Justin points out mine all the time in a loving way.
I don't know that it's loving. I just straight up tell you what your flaws are.
Even if I don't want to hear them.
Yeah. I like, Matt, you need to quit doing that. That's not...
Okay.
Okay. God, if Seth were here, he'd hate this. Like we're so much closer. That's better. I need to pay for StreamYard. We use it enough now. I think I need to pay for it. And then I could have a backdrop. Right now, it's just darkness. But I do believe this is a junction where we are going to call it a night. I have to get up super early for work.
Yeah.
So I do need my
Back to the
ugly
grind.
rest. So, but we will see it next week for the finale. And I know that they've tried to keep it to where like we don't go very long without The Walking Dead. So being that next week is the finale, does that mean like something Walking Dead starts right after it? Or are we actually going to have a little break in between Walking Dead shows?
There's no time for rest when it comes to cable television.
The mad dollars. We shan't rest. Now kiss me, you fool.
We will make a big bag of money.
But we'll see you next week for the Tales of the Walking Dead finale. I'm Justin.
And just remember, you cannot sign up for this podcast at matt.dubs.com. You have to go to the Podcasting Dead.
Yes,
that's my Matt.
Exactly. Remember that. Thank you for the insight, Matt.
Matty Dubs signing off.
Peace out. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.